Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us here at the Network Breakfast. Ain't he something? My name is Tom Basie, and each Tuesday morning around 7:30 or so, quarter to 8, we get started and we talk about different things. Today, we're going to let Jeff Hexter have the floor, and he's going to talk about follow-up, follow-through. But before that happens, we're going to let each of our contestants here say good morning to you so you know who we are, okay? All right, so the first good morning is going to be to Debbie Wood. We're going to let Debbie have a minute. Go ahead, Deb.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Debbie Wood. The name of my company is Viable Solutions. I market a product that it comes from the hemp plant. It's CBD oil and hair care, and we have a lot of different products, and everything is hemp based. We have just came out with a line of clothing that's based from hemp, and it's pretty cool. It's a product that helps everybody, and that's what I do.
Excellent. Thank you, Debbie. Thanks for being here. We're going to say
you.
good morning to one of our real favorites, our weekly favorites. It's Mike. We're going to say good morning to Mike Bentley.
Good morning, all. I'm Mike Bentley, and I'm from the Brooks and Stafford Company, and I am an insurance broker. My area of specialty is on the health insurance side. I work with small businesses, non-for-profits, those who are transitioning from employment-based coverage to individual coverage. We can help you with short-term insurance. We can help you in the marketplace with Obamacare options. And we are very involved in the Medicare market to help you understand your many options with Medicare. We provide coverage as a company in 38 states, and I work with Medicare in about 11. So again, if you have any questions about your healthcare options, please give me a call. Mike Bentley from the Brooks and Stafford Company.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike, and thanks for being here. We're going to say good morning to our master photographer and one of our good friends, Scott Morrison. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Morrison. My company is Discovery Photo. I am a full-time, full-service photographer, have been for 30 years now. It still surprises me to say that. Time has flown by pretty quick. I do everything from legal, corporate, industrial, architectural, do a lot of business headshots, modeling portfolios, crash parties on the weekends. Lately, I've been doing a lot with the movie industry here in Cleveland, which is huge. Do a lot with the independent movies and some of the big ones that come around. We just wrapped on a full-length feature film that will hopefully, we'll be able to see it by the end of the year, beginning of the next year. And we have one in the festival circuit right now that just took first place at the Hollywood Film Festival. And it's right now in Vegas for another film festival this week. It will be premiering in Cleveland on September 18th, along with another feature that I did. So that's kind of what I do. It's kind of a fun, cool job. And that's about it. Scott Morrison, Discovery Photo, when image counts.
Thank you, Scott. It's always exciting to hear what's going on with you. You have a wonderful career and a great opportunity in life to be able to be involved in all of that.
And have fun.
Wonderful, wonderful pictures, as we've all seen over the years. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for being here. We're going to say good morning to Chris Walters. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris Walters with See-Through Windows. I provide vinyl replacement windows and patio doors. We also provide glass block. I cover from Port Clinton to the Pennsylvania border, Cleveland to Canton. I go take a look at every job and then quote you within 24 to 36 hours. You send me back an okay, and we order the material. Windows, you're looking at 8 to 10 weeks installed. The manufacturers are really having a problem right now. So if you've got something in the works, get your windows ordered first, because that's the longest lead time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chris, and thanks for being here. And before we turn it over to Jeff, we're going to say good morning to Judy. Good morning, Judy. So glad to see you. Thank you.
Hi, Tom. I'm so sorry I'm late. We just a lot of things were going on, but I wouldn't miss Jeff for anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm Judy Bollinger and I'm the freelance writer in the group. I make you look good through the written word. The spoken word is gone in the air, but the written word remains forever. And it is so important that your grammar be correct, that your sentence structure be correct. If all you use me for is to proofread, I can do that too. But the main basis of my business is blogging for your website. Get your website noticed, make sure people are there. I mean, I say this over and over again, SEO is looking for constantly changing words. And you can do that by adding a blog once a month, twice a month, whatever. But you have those constantly changing words, which bring people to your website. And somebody just told me recently that what makes my website, my blog so much fun to read is the pictures in the opening sentences. Like I did one on caffeine for a elder care attorney. It was all about the caffeine in coffee and tea, the good points and the bad points. So I called it, it's an old, if anybody's here old enough to know this, it's an old rhyme we used to use when we were jumping rope. And it goes like this: I love coffee, I love tea, I love the boys, and the boys love me. And that was the title of the blog.
Wow, great.
So, okay, that's
All right.
it.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy. Thanks for being here.
You're
And
welcome.
now we'd like to turn the floor over to Jeff Hexter, and he's going to bring us up to speed, at least in a section of follow up, follow through. And I'm sort of anxious to hear what he has to say. So let's give it to Jeff right now.
All right, is my slide showing?
It looks wonderful.
All right. So we've all heard that phrase, the fortune is in the follow-up. I'm about to tell you things that you ever have that experience where you're telling somebody something that you think ought to be obvious to them. This is going to be hopefully some blinding flashes of the obvious for all of you and an explanation. So yeah, if you don't follow up with somebody, you lose contact with them. You're out of sight, out of mind. I want to define follow-up as the process of making someone feel special after an initial contact. If you look at follow-up that way, there are really two purposes to follow-up. I'll deal with them as we get through these. But I've discovered that there are at least seven different types of follow-up. And I call them the checks: the check-in, the check-up, the check-back, the check-out, the check-off, the thank you follow-up, and the paycheck follow-up. And I'm going to define all seven of these and explain to you well, first of all, how they're different, but also how you use them in your follow-up process. This is the content in your follow-up that will do two things. The two things are build a relationship and remain top of mind by surprising and delighting the people that you work with. So the first one, the check-in. This is the basic, I haven't heard from you in a while. How are you doing? What's new? Follow-up. It's so simple and obvious. We have to do it more often. And it's the easiest thing to do. The check-up is a different version of this. The check-up is after you've shared content or suggestion, making sure that that information was utilized, understood, received, etc. Was it helpful? Do you need more information? Is a check-up. It's different from the check-in. It's directed about something you've already shared. The check back is the reverse of the check up, and it's where rather than you reaching out to the person that you've contacted, they reach back. Or if somebody has given you information, you reach back to them, letting them know that the information was useful or not. You tried to call that person and they didn't answer. Can you help me get the contact? Can you warm it up again for me? Something like that. That's the check back. And again, this is all about building a relationship. The check out follow-up is one of my favorites. It's, I found something useful or something I think would be useful and interesting to you. Please check this out. Or it could be an introduction to a person. Check out this friend of mine. But mostly it's, I found this article online. I found this article in a magazine. I found a picture of you in the newspaper and it's positive and I want you to have a copy of it. That's a check out when you're sharing valuable content. The check off follow-up is where if you want to give someone an easy way to beg off from the relationship, would you prefer I stop following up with you? Or it could be, how about I check up with you in 6 months rather than every other week? It's giving them a chance to take themselves off your list in a kind and respectful way. The thank you follow-up is the one we all wish we got more of. It's a sincere, specific, timely, appropriately personal, and always positive expression of gratitude, and nothing else. If you combine a thank you with a request for a referral or a check out this information, you'll get a confused receiver. You want your thank yous to just be thank yous. You can always do another touch point, another follow-up with the other content. But if you receive a thank you card in the mail and it's got 2 business cards, and the thank you note is a pre-printed card that says, "We appreciate your business," and then there's a handwritten note that says, "And we really love your referrals," all they hear is it's begging for interaction, not appreciation. And the description I've heard for this in the past was it's referred to as chocolate covered dog poop. It looks good on the surface, but it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. Just thank someone for their kindness, for their help, for their service, but don't try to put more into it. And again, this is to remain top of mind and to build a relationship. That paycheck, maybe you were curious what I meant by a paycheck follow-up. This is the referral. This is not a paycheck for you, but a paycheck for them. If you reach out to someone with a referral, a good referral, you've warmed it up, the person is anticipating their call, and it's potential business, you have shown the person you're following up with that they're more than just a customer. They're an important relationship in your life, and you want to help them grow in getting the things they want more of, mainly in a business relationship. That would be business. It shows you listened. It shows you value them. So if you reach out with referrals and solicit feedback from them, was that a good one? That's another way to follow up. You're going to develop the relationship with that person. They will reciprocate. It'll come back to you. Those are the 7 types of follow-ups. Maybe you know of some other ones, but if you use those 7 types of follow-ups in your interactions with people, and I can share this list with you later because sometimes I have trouble remembering which one is which, you're going to grow your relationships and you're going to be remembered positively. This is the content that should go into your follow-ups. And again, try not to confuse the thank you follow-up by putting more content into it than just a sincere thank you. That's all I wanted to share today. Thanks, Judy. So I would love your feedback on these ideas of follow-up.
Okay. What I need to know is, what was your relationship that you're thanking them for?
Oh,
have you already done business with them? Have you already sold them something or fixed something, and now you're going through the follow-up? Or are you just contacting them and you're thanking them for responding or whatever?
You can thank them for their time. You can thank them for holding the door. A thank you, and well, all right. Now we're getting into a little more detail about the thank you follow-up specifically. People don't get enough appreciation in their lives. It's just the way of the world right now. We're moving too fast. We're forgetting to send the thank you note for the gift received. We're forgetting to appreciate people for attendance. We're forgetting to appreciate people for their kindness. And a thank you should be in the form of a note. And there's a reason for that. A handwritten, or at least, I mean, I use send out cards for this, but a note that is putting something in their hand rather than a text message or a phone call or an email is very powerful. I have thank you notes that have been written to me from my clientele. They're stored on the shelf behind me because they are, well, they're really heartwarming sometimes. I keep them around, and if you send somebody a note, it will probably be kept by them if it was really a clear expression of gratitude. It really makes people's lives better. You put a treasure in someone's hand when you give them a note of thanks. If you just thank people for holding the door, that's important too. Every time you can appreciate people, you're going to get more of the behavior that you're appreciating. Well, it is, okay, not every time. There are some situations where people don't understand how to accept your gratitude or your appreciation, and they'll fight it. It took me a long time when somebody said, good job, for me to say, yeah, other than yeah, right. And just to say, thank you, because I was holding myself to a higher standard than what they did. But when a child does their job, even though they're supposed to do it, but to unload the dishwasher or make their bed, you say thank you for doing what you're supposed to do. That's good. When a person does something kind for you, and sometimes you have to search for it, letting them know you appreciate the time and effort they put into it, even if you don't appreciate the outcome, we'll get more time and effort, and you can shape the outcome by growing your relationship with them. That's why the thank you is so important. Does that help, Tom, or does that confuse the issue more?
No, it helps. It's just that I in order to apply this information appropriately, I thought I needed to know what your relationship was with the person you're following up and following through.
These are generic. In that case, if you're following up with if you're going on a job search interview and you get that interview, sending a thank you note to the interviewer for their time and focus is powerful. You will be remembered, especially because 9 out of 10 people won't send a thank you note. If you have a client that you've had for a long time and you send them a note that says, really appreciate the fact that you worked with me for so long, that's great. If you have a new client, I really appreciate the chance you gave me to try me out, and I'm here for you if you have more questions. That's a really powerful way to grow the relationship with a new client.
And you're dealing with a stamp and an address and put it in the post office.
Yes, if you can, or something that automates the system more. That's another presentation.
Well, it seems as though those are you're referring to sending them a note.
In the thank you. The recipes,
yes,
you can
more
automate
than
the process of the check-in could be a text. I'd like to check in by stopping by. Couldn't do this during COVID, but if I show up at a client's office, not because they have a problem, not because I have new information to share with them, but because I was in the neighborhood, I poked my head in, I was nearby, I just was checking in, how was everything going? I get a lot of business from people just because I was there at the right place at the right time. The problems had just been building up and I wasn't top of mind, so they didn't call me. But if I stick my head in, all of a sudden I became top of mind. They know me and they like me, so they're going to ask for help. And it may be, I don't have time right now, let's schedule an appointment. Or it might be, I can take a look at that right now and I get some billable hours because I was between appointments. That's a check-in. If I had an email list of my clientele and I shared content that was industry appropriate and business newsy, that would be a checkout. Here's something that I found that might be interesting to a group of you. If you have questions about this, give me a call. I'd love to talk with you more about it. So I might share information on cryptocurrency in an email to a group of people. I could have an email list where I do that because I have a lot of people that I've talked with about it and they're curious about it. Again, the check back has to be specific to the situation. So if somebody gave me content and it was valuable to me, I would check back with them and say, thank you. It could be, I would check back with them and say, do you have more? Or it could be, I check back with them and say, this was interesting, but not to me. So they can adjust what content they do send me. Ray Antonelli does a good job with checkouts. He will send me an email every other month with something that's not designed to get me to become a customer, but just to continue to remind me that he's around because it's useful content to me.
Jeff, I was going to do something and the moment hasn't passed. I can still do it, but I keep putting it off. I saw somebody from my BNI chapter had an ad. There was a little bit about him and an ad in the Jewish News, someplace where he never, just Jeff Cave. I don't know how many of you know him. He's a fabulous guy. I was thinking of saving it and mailing it to him saying, so glad to see you in the Jewish News. Would you do something like that, or?
That would be, it depends. Do you want to maintain and grow a relationship with him? If you don't care, it doesn't matter, but
Yeah, I
acknowledging
love the
it.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, acknowledging that you saw them. We have a member in my chapter. I hear her ads on the radio, and I tell her I think about her all the time because when I'm waking up on the radio, I hear her ad. It's at 6
Okay.
or at 6:10 on the radio. So that lets them know that their information's out there and it's getting heard, and that it is positively affecting you. People need to hear these messages. And
Okay.
again, you will remain top of mind and grow your relationship when you share positive messages like these things.
In the past, I've talked about the cards that I've produced. And for example, anytime you have a new contact, you have a new interface with someone, whether by phone or in person, you don't want to delay and put off making that follow-up. When I'm off the phone with someone, I've talked about this in the past, I keep a little ledger. I immediately get out a card and fill it out. And you might remember that I use my dad as a theme, especially with my 900 plus Medicare clients. So for example, I had a call from a lady that was referred to me yesterday, and immediately I filled out a card today. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I need to cover her name, protect her privacy. It's got my picture on it. She doesn't know what I look like. So I always hand write a note. The cards always have my picture. And this one is a picture of he's now 94, my 94-year-old dad and my little granddaughter that says, together we will choose the right path. So she called asking about Medicare, what decision she needs to make. What was the one, Jeff, where you're just checking in?
Let's check in.
Yeah, check in. Here's my check-in card.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like yesterday that we last talked.
It's cute.
That's my check-in. And guess what? It's got my picture on the back. Every card is handwritten. When it's time to review policies, guess what? It's that time again. Picture on the back.
Mm-hmm.
I'll handwrite it. This is the latest one that I just did.
The future is bright. Wear your sunglasses.
The future is bright. Wear your sunglasses. And so this is just sort of a fun, touching base. Let's look to the future. Hey, what's going on? Hoping you're having a great summer. And this was one of the first ones I did, was people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so I have a variety of cards like this that I got to hand address everyone. I make a personal little comment or note to everyone, and I send them out, and they're darn cheap to print. I'll do 750 to 1,000 of each of these cards, and it probably cost me through Vistaprint less than $70. The major cost is mailing. So I have an assortment of personal cards that I've designed, all that have my picture on the back for many of these 7 categories. I'm going to have to go through and see which category, Jeff, I'm not covering here.
I think, well, you don't have to do all the categories. I want you to think in terms of the categories. You'll discover that your types of follow-up will fall into these 7 categories. And a lot of what you have are check-ins, and that's great. And you'll find that check-ins and check-outs are really powerful.
Another example, yesterday, as I was walking into the office, and I park a half mile away, so I walk a half mile in because I'm a cheapskate, don't want to pay for parking downtown. And so I was cutting across a parking lot, and there was a young man who twice yelled out my name. I didn't recognize him. And then he walked over and he introduced himself. And it was actually the son of one of my clients who had gone to school with my son. I never would have recognized him. Such a polite young man. He's an engineer now, and he was doing part of the core testing for the new Sherwin-Williams buildings that they're going to build down on Public Square. And I thought, as I left walking into the office, before I forget, I immediately need to contact his parents. I didn't do a card because it was so fresh, but I actually emailed his father and said, this strange young man approached me in a parking lot, and he was so nice and polite, and he was your son. And he told me all about his job and his move back to Cleveland. You can be very proud as parents and happy that he's back in town. And I sent that email out like at 8 in the morning, and by 9 o'clock, I received an email back thanking me.
Anytime you can share a positive thing like that. This presentation grew out of a presentation that I did years ago about different types of the content you can follow up with. And one of them was when somebody says something nice about somebody else, letting the person know that something nice was said about them. And that's a version of that. So sharing good news is a fun thing. Everybody benefits. You benefit because you get the appreciation from the person hearing the news gets the benefit of hearing that somebody was talking positively about their back, or something nice was done that reflected well on them, which is what their son did. And that's a lot of good in that.
Right. But I really make it a point that you've got to take action right away, because we all have great intent. Wow, I need to let so-and-so know that I ran into their son or their daughter, or someone called me that was a referral. And we mean well where we want to follow up. And then we just get so busy with other distractions and things in our day. So I try to take action and do it immediately. I mean, how long is it going to take to do an email or to pull out one of the cards? 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then it's done. And then the reward, who knows what the reward in the future will be for that.
Well, you can control that in some regards, because the reward will be relationship and being remembered. So you get to shape the nature of what one does with that relationship and the value of that being remembered. You actually have a lot more control based on things I'll clarify later on. That's not the topic of this presentation. That's how you use that for good or for awesome is where I'm taking this. But thank you. I'm going to add into my presentation this stuff about being timely. I have it on the thank you follow-up, where it's clear that appreciating immediately is better than appreciating later, although it's always better than never sending out the appreciation and the gratitude. But if you want to build that relationship, being timely does matter, and that's probably something I should work into this. Thank you, Mike. That was helpful.
Right. Out of all of us, Mike has that large database, and he keeps the communication fresh with that kind of thing. And I was wondering about that as you were talking, Jeff, how many of these 7 Mike actually does, because he follows up probably better than any of us. But I'm guessing Scott has a method whereby he probably also, checks in with his customers that he took pictures for, and he's glad they're happy, or if there was something else or whatever. If there's anything I've been remiss is in any of these. Right, I've gone through since the 80s, fixing computers and doing other things. And I wait too long and the days go by and I keep saying, I should have emailed, I should have called, I should have. And then by then it's like 6 months later and who knows what. So I probably lost a ton of interest that was in me at one point. And then they probably started thinking, well, you know what? He just doesn't care that much. And you know what? They were probably right. I care at the moment is my problem. And then out of sight, out of mind. And I should have had a theme all of these years, like Jeff has just listed, and what Mike was just saying about these little incidental communications that you have. Somebody comes up and says, "Oh, I remember you from bang," and then you could contact them or contact their family if you have, and fill them in on what just happened. It's just a wonderful thing, and it's a shame if we don't take advantage of these kinds of things that Mike, and certainly with Jeff's presentation today. This stuff is so valuable, and it will keep you in business.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm kind of lucky because my job, just in general, I have several contacts with people. First, I take the pictures, I send them proofs, they choose which one they want, I send them the final copy, and so I have a lot of contact with them. So it's a follow-up as part of what it is. So I'll see for every photo shoot, I'll talk to these people probably 3 or 4 times, which is great. That way I stay top of mind over a period of time.
This is also about how to keep the relationship going when you're out of the cycle with them. If
Right.
somebody does an annual event, if you send them something quarterly, that might be, you could send them a postcard with a still image of them saying, don't you remember this event, or didn't you enjoy when we did this, or we're still talking about when we worked with you,
Right.
or something that lets them know you were thinking of them positively. That will they're going to be remembering you positively, and that means you'll come up in conversation when somebody says, "Oh, I don't like my photo." They're going to say, "Oh, haha, I know somebody you got to talk to." That's the kind of reaction we're trying to get people to do with our follow-up. We want to always be top of mind, and we want to do it without being the person that says, "Are you ready for me now? How about now? Would you like more now?" And not being annoying. And that's what I'm getting into in my next presentation. And it turns out there are 4 messages that you cycle through to not annoy people, but still remain top of mind. The 4 messages are, "I'm here. I care about you. I'm a resource. Just ask me." If you cycle through those 4 messages, and that's what my next presentation is about, you're never going to alienate the people you're talking to, because it's all about how you can help them. And Mike, are you writing those down? It's really simple to do, and you can systematize it. You can have an email. The first one is, "We're still around. This is what's going on." The second one is, these could be quarterly or weekly or however you want to schedule. And the second message is this is what we're doing to help people in your situation, or how we've helped people in your situation. The third one is, we also help all sorts of other problems. And the fourth one is, if you know somebody that needs this, meaning if you need this, go ahead and ask us, because we can connect you with the solution. It's not that you are always the solution to their problem, but you have a network that can solve their problems. You are more than just what you say you do. You're everybody in your network, but you want to be the person they go through to get to your network. So this is all about the process of monetizing one's network.
All right. So I have a question about one of the 7, and that would be Chekhov.
Yes.
And I don't mean the guy on the bridge of the Enterprise.
Thank you.
If they respond by saying, "Yes, I'm afraid this is the end of the line," is it really?
You have an opportunity to do 2 things. One is you could accept it at face value. 3 things. You can ask them, if this isn't for you, who do you know that it might be for? I don't want to alienate anybody, but I do want to solve these problems for these people, and I know I can. Do you know anybody that could benefit from working with me or with the knowledge that I have? You can structure the response. And the last one is you can say, you can toss it back to them. I understand that it's not there now. Why do you think we should end this? And let them tell you, I don't like your haircut. Yeah, well, you're never going to overcome that unless you change your haircut, and you're probably not going to change your haircut. I don't like that you only work on these things, and you're totally out of my realm. I'm retiring. Could be a reason they don't want to be on your list anymore. It could be you could be getting a message from the spouse because he passed away, for all you know. I like to accept people's reasons at face value and not judge them for them. But I also like to make fun of things, or have fun with things. So I might respond with, we were planning on taking you off our list anyway. Let's just make sure that we're on the same page here. You want to be off the list because of this, and this. We were going to take you off because we
had your tickets to Disneyland almost ready to put in the mail. But now that, it's just, and this was the one in California, not in Florida.
Disneyland's in California.
All expenses paid with the air and everything. But you know what? You're probably right. We're better off parting company now.
So where should I have sent the cryptocurrency? You can make it fun. I like to make it fun because it's entertaining for me, and I don't have time for things that aren't fun. That's why I'm here. Thank you.
Bada boom.
This is pretty interesting because I know what you're talking about, but I'm very careful of what I do. And I send out, I have about 800 people on my email list.
I get your emails.
Yeah. And I do not send them out very often. Okay. The reason being is I don't want to have people inundated with junk emails like I get every freaking day. So the only time that I will send an email is if it's something important. Mm-hmm. Like this morning, I gotta be real honest with them. I haven't gotten my phone yet. I lost my phone. I haven't gotten it yet. So I got to send an email saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not
ignoring you. I just don't have a phone.
What?
I'm not ignoring you. I just can't find my phone.
Not only that, I don't have the phone numbers. And the only thing I have is an email. So, but the thing of it is, and I get a lot of times when I send an email, I get 4 or 5 people wanting jobs. So that's why I kind of back off and not send out anything that's not real important. But I like what you said. I'm going to find out, and I know you send out cards. That's a great way.
You've used it in the past.
What?
You've used it to good effect in the past.
Well, not only that, I've gotten them. So I'm looking to go back to use something like that because you don't offend anybody when you send them a card. When you send them an email, sometimes you offend them. And when I say offend, it's just everybody gets so many emails. They're just inundated with them.
Right. So I think offend and overwhelm.
Yes, exactly. So I think you're on the right track. I really do.
I don't send out cards for birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, anything like that.
Well, how could you with 900 people?
It's very, in some ways, perfunctory. Oh, I got another card from, used to be, oh, I got a card from my mailman. Or going back many years, oh, we got a card from our milkman, used to deliver the milk, at our house. So, it's sort of, unexpected, or it's a pre-printed kind of thing. So I don't do birthdays, I don't do holidays, I don't do anniversaries. And so I try to send them for other occasions.
What other occasions are you talking about?
I think it makes the card more memorable.
I have a financial planner or an insurance person I work with that sends out a Thanksgiving card instead of a Christmas card.
Mhm.
Unusual.
Mike, Debbie asked, what other occasions are you talking about? Debbie asked that one.
Okay, well, it could be, birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving. I've even seen people send out sort of Halloween type cards, 4th of July, anniversaries. It could be policy anniversary. So those are just sort of typical points that a lot of people will send out mailings. They got it on the calendar, they got everyone's birthday, and someone who does a great job at follow-up, and some of you know him because he used to frequent the network breakfast, is Doug Bunker. Doug is phenomenal. I mean, I get cards on all of those special occasions from Doug. And then on my birthday, he gives me a personal call on my cell phone to wish me happy birthday. And just speaking of Doug, this is interesting. I last week had a phone call from an 86-year-old client who was asking me if I do financial planning. And based on her location, I suggested Doug. All right. So I gave her Doug's phone number. 3 days later, I get a card from Doug. Doug's already. Thank you for the referral of, I really appreciate you thinking of me in this way. Have a good day. All the best. So Doug is phenomenal. I've learned a lot from Doug, but I don't follow his pattern of sending out holiday and birthday cards.
And that's fine. That
Yeah.
being,
It's
you want to be remembered.
each their own, and what success that they might get. And I find out also just some feedback, especially from my Medicare clients. A lot of them don't like to be reminded of their birthday. They're 86, 87, they quit counting back at, 39. They like the attention, but they don't want to be reminded maybe that they're having another birthday.
I think that's, I don't have a sense of what percentage of people, if I had to guess, there were 100 people in the room that there may be 10% of people in the room that don't like being reminded about their birthday, but you may be in a category where there's
I would say it's less than 10%.
all right. Most people like being getting birthday greetings, let's put it that way. And it could be done differently. You could be, this is not your typical birthday card, and send it for their birthday. And it's, it's however you want to phrase it.
Certainly if you used birthdays, it's an easier tracking system because you could
And an
just load
automated
it in your
system.
database and it just pops up. For me, I do huge mailings in late August, early September, prior to open enrollment, which rolls around in October. And so I do drip marketing, or I do drip mailing, because I can't mail out 500 cards at one time, because I'm going to get 500 responses all within a week to 10 days. So I begin very early. And one of the things I do when I come into my office each morning, I will do, let's say, 20 cards. So I will hand address 20 cards, maybe put a personal note or something I know about that person or question in the comments. And then I will actually mail 20 cards every day, or 15 cards every day. And I always start with my out-of-state clients. So I'll start with California, Arizona, Florida, and then work my way back to local. So hopefully by the end of September, I've been able to send a card out to all of them. And sometimes if I have spare time, I will in advance address cards. and I might have a whole stack, and especially if I'm going to work from home, and I'll just put a little paper clip with a note for when they're to be mailed out in our office: Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because I don't want them all going out at the same time.
You've got a system and that works for you, and that's
Yeah.
important. If you
Right.
don't
And
create a
and so
system-
now
Yeah.
we're right about the time of reviewing our client list, and having so many Medicare clients, typically we have retention of about 94% of our clients. That's statistically held true for the past 5 or 6 years. You might say, well, what happens to the other clients? They die. And sadly, we've had a higher number of clients who've passed this past year, not necessarily a few from COVID, but we have to be very sensitive now, because I've learned from mistakes in the past where we've just done a mailing and then I'll get a call from a widow to tell me to take her husband's name off because he passed away, had a stroke 7 months ago. That's not a good thing. That's not what you want to have. And so when I do find out about these, because typically, if they don't contact me to remove them from a policy, we get a notification from an insurance company, because they're quick to, put an end to their automatic bank draft, or Medicare notifies them to take them off their Medicare Advantage plan. And so we've got to go through and screen our list to make sure that it's updated, that it's correct, because we don't want to cause more heartache and pain for our existing client. We don't want to lose clients that way by offending them.
That's an
So
interesting
that's
situation.
right around the corner. That's about a week or two away for us to go through and just to carefully screen, make sure people that have moved. Also, we have a lot of snowbirds that are constantly going back and forth or changing their resident to another state. So I've said enough. I'm sorry for taking so much time, but just sharing something that we do a lot of.
I appreciate your feedback, so it'll help me make this presentation sharper.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Mike's one of the ones that actually has a process. And not only that, but he follows the process. He couldn't exist without it because of the sheer numbers of people that he has to keep in contact with and keep updated.
Oof.
What are you showing us, Mike? Your
You're muted,
microphone is off. There you go.
What were you showing?
All right, this is last year's list, and I want to hold it far enough away where I'm not revealing any personal information, but things are color coded, and you might see that I've X'd out and changed addresses and maybe crossed out names. Those are people that I'm aware of that have deceased this past year. But what's interesting, what I've done with the color coding, the yellow coding indicates after I've done a mailing, they've responded to me. So how do I know that they got the card and they appreciated the card, or they want me to do? So when I mail these out, everyone that responds, I just take a marker and I put yellow to show how many have done a follow-up, either by a phone call or an email, have followed up to my mailing.
All right. The process of closing a mental loop has a contact circle back is
So the yellow is actually phone calls and the green is email.
I love it.
Wow.
Do you have a legend that says what's what in case you're not the one entering the data?
I do. My assistant has it.
Smart.
Wow, what a process, what a method.
But you need to systematize this. This can be, because it can be, and then you don't have to do all of it. And B, things will fall through the cracks if you don't create a system for this. And now he's in a business where this kind of connection is vital. Some people, Chris's business may not require the same level of follow-up as Mike's. Debbie's may not require the same level of follow-up as Tom's. And that process will be different for every business. There will be some similarities, the types of content that get shared, the modes of content, whether you're sending letters or emails or visits or postcards. Those are going to be, those get shared everywhere, but you may not use certain ones. So there's a lot of similarities and there are a lot of differences between the way we follow up. But this kind of content that is the check-in, the check-back, the check-out, the check-up, that I think is more universal. I wanted you to think through, I want people to think through, what kind of touch points do I want with these people? What is the content of those? And Mike's got some brilliant content. It's his postcards that contain the picture that gets the person to remember him fondly. And he's appreciating them with the thank you. He's giving them a touch point at a set period of time past interaction to remind them. He's also dealing with, as people get older, you know, our memories may become more sieve-like than basket-like. So these postcards are valuable.
Well, not only that,
With that, I have to check out. So thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Adios.
Bye-bye.
the thing of it is, he's got an assistant that can do a lot of this for him.
Yeah.
While he's creating new business, whereas all of us sitting here, we don't have an assistant. It's us and us.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, exactly.
Understand why he would not systematize that digitally as opposed to doing it. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to what he does and it's making my head literally spin in circles.
At the point at which he hits a certain level where your time is spent more in the follow-up process than in the initial contact sales process, that's where you have to let somebody else handle that, some other system take over, and he may have to outsource the postcards, for example, to his assistant. So it'll be, but he may never reach that level. He may be always at the 900 client mark, and it's just the way he wants to work. But if he wanted to hit 9,000 clients, no way. There isn't enough time in the day.
Even 900, I don't understand how he has time to be on a networking meeting. I would think he would be at home addressing postcards. You know what I mean? That is time consuming. And
Yeah,
even if you have an assistant doing it and you know, you use send out cards as the example.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get into send out cards and put that whole thing in a system where all you have to do is push a button and it sends to 900 people.
Well, he has
different way
those
of thinking,
pre-printed
I guess.
cards from the, I believe he said it was Vista Print.
That's what he said.
And each of those cards, he hand writes the address.
Right.
So,
And a personal message.
yeah, and a little remembrance so that he connects with them on a personal level. And it's just that he has done this for so many years that it's a process that is not, it's not burdensome to him.
It's not overwhelming.
When I think of it, it's like, oh my God.
I know, it was making my head
Ay,
spin.
ay, ay, 900. And, you know, with the follow-up, but you know, the insurance business is like that. I have some insurance customers who have moved out of buildings and put their business into their homes. And they brought all the file cabinets and everything from the office, and they have them in their basement. They remodeled their basement and made it into what it looks like you're at the office. And they deal with people that they've sold insurance to from the 80s. And
Wow.
yeah, and they get a letter or they get an email from somebody, and they have thousands. It's a two-man operation, and they have thousands of customers that contact them, phone, email, text, and certainly snail mail. And they got to respond to all of them. And that's what they spend their day doing. Even if they don't get any new customers, the 1,000 or 1,200 or whatever they got generates enough income and generates for them following up and keeping their customers happy with what's current with their particular flavor of insurance. And that's what they spend their time doing, because that's the insurance business. It's sort of like car salesmen in the old days. I remember up at the Ford dealership on Mayfield Road, every car that he sold, he would write the guy's name on the wallpaper. He had white wallpaper, and he put the first name and the last name of the person that he sold the car to. He was there for 20 some years, and the whole room was covered with names
Dude.
of the people that he sold cars to. It was amazing because he was like that. He followed up. He made sure that you liked the car. A year from then, if the customer's son needed a car, because this salesman contacted him, asked him, how was your birthday? And his son needed a car, so they went up there and talked to him, because now they have a guy in the car business. When you know somebody that's good at what they do, when you know Scott Morrison, you don't have to go any further. You, your family, your friends, they need a headshot. Of course, you don't say that to an Italian. You need a headshot. You call Scott. I have never been more proud of anybody than Scott. Everything he's ever done for me or for somebody I've sent to him, it has been absolutely the best it could be. I don't mind saying it. It's just been fantastic. And what I should have done was send him a thank you after he did such good work. Come on. Pow. I could have had a V8.
All right, guys, I got to run to my next event.
All right. Excellent. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
It was
appreciate your help,
great.
guys. I'll do more later. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. Talk to y'all later.
I got to run too.
Bye.
Okay.
My turn too.
All right.
Yep. I got to
Thank
send
you all
an
very
See
email.
much.
everybody
telling you-
later.
Wonderful Tuesday morning.
Yep.
Have a great week.
Good job, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, Chris. Thank you.
See you soon.
Adios. So there you have it. Another Tuesday morning. It was a good one. It was only a 10 or 12 or 15-minute presentation, but the follow-up, oddly enough, came out really nice. So I'm glad you all stuck to the end, and I have a chance to thank you so much for being part of the Network Breakfast. Please subscribe, hit the bell, and come back and see what we have for next week, okay? All right, thanks so much. This is Tom Basie, and this is Network Breakfast. We had Jeff Hexter this morning. Wonderful presentation of follow-up, follow-through. July the 27th, 2021. Thank you, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.